And thanks for staying with us here on the JoyNews channel. Live pictures there from Parliament. Obviously, the minority side and happy with the ruling by the Speaker of the House. For now, we know that Ken Ofori-Atta has been given a lifeline of 7 more days, after which we are likely to witness another debate on the floor of the House. The disagreements over the propriety or otherwise of the Speaker of the House referring the matter to an ad hoc committee. That is being challenged on the floor, but it appears that finality has been brought to the matter, with the Speaker clothing himself with the leadership powers of the House. Order 106 is where, of course, the Speaker is laying his claims to, as opposed to some of the concerns being raised by the minority side of the House on Article 82 of the 1992 Constitution. These matters will continue to unfold in the next 7 days, as we're expecting the Finance Minister himself, either through the help of his counsel, to appear before that ad hoc committee. And of course, we do have a sense of the co-chairs, which is quite another unique process that we're witnessing. 2 individuals will be chairing that 8-member committee. We do have Katie Hammond as one of the co-chairs, and on the minority side, Dominic Ayine as well, who will be co-chairing with Katie Hammond. The others, we know of Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings, we know of Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa on the minority side, and on the majority, Anyimado Entry is a member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament. In fact, he's the chair of that committee, so he will be representing. We know of a Japan Mesa as well, representing on that committee. So that's a sense of what's just transpired. But let's get the reaction of some former members of Parliament now. Joining me is Ras Mubarak, former Member of Parliament for Kumbungu. Thank you for your time. And I'm sure that you're learning of the latest directive by the Speaker, laying claims to Order 106 of the House. He says that he has the powers to refer this matter to an ad hoc committee. What's your take on what's transpired so far? Russ, you would have to first of all unmute, and once you unmute, I'm sure we'll be able to hear the points that you're making. Ras Mubarak, if you're with us, I'm just asking about your reactions to this latest ruling by the Speaker. And definitely what you have now on the screens, the minority side is still in disbelief following that ruling by the Speaker of Parliament. We can try Ras Mubarak once more. Ras, so the proceedings have come to a close, at least for now, a lifeline to Ken Ofori-Atta, who has been asked to leave office by the minority. They wanted a constitutional process of motion of censure, but that process is being elongated some more through this latest ruling by the Speaker of the House. 7 more days to hear him out. What's your take? Kindly unmute for me so I can hear you, Ras.
It's been a very, exciting day in Parliament. Clearly, for those who thought that today was going to be a day that the motion was going to be debated, clearly they didn't understand, what the procedures were in Parliament. The Speaker's guidance has been very instructive that an ad hoc committee be set up, to look into the matter. I think that the state of confusion had arisen because of the way the standing orders of Parliament itself is structured. And it wasn't surprising that the Speaker mentioned that some of the things that have emanated from today would, or should be incorporated in a new standing order. Clearly, in any situation of natural justice, you would want to give whoever has been accused of wrongdoing, a very fair hearing. So it is standard practice that he be given an opportunity to respond and respond appropriately, and to be able to appear before an ad hoc committee of Parliament by himself or with a legal representation. What I find worrying is the fact that for the first time in our history, you see an overreach into parliament by a political party. I mean, it was the New Patriotic Party that issued a 3-line whip to its members, to abstain from debating the matter. And I thought that was very, very, very unfortunate, given how far we have come in our democracy, and, members of parliament are elected, even though on political party tickets, but by their constituents. And it's important that decisions that are taken
And Raj, while you adjust your lines, of course, we're having some challenges hearing you on the very last point you're making. But obviously, you're talking about how unhappy you are about the decision from the NPP side, asking all of its MPs not to participate in the debates for today. But the latest ruling of the Speaker comes at a surprise to many who are hoping that at least that decision will be put to a vote. Because looking at the standing orders he's referring to, the concluding part talks about a referral based on the decision of the House. He's arrogating to himself the leadership role of the House. He says, I'm the leader of Parliament as a House. You cannot be constituted unless I preside or unless a speaker is presiding over the House. And so he's arrogating the leadership role to himself. And yet the argument from the minority side is that that decision ought to be subjected to a democratic process.
Whilst trying to find a proper, parking space to hear you properly.
Yes.
I needed to pull over.
But the point
in order
basically
not to violate the laws.
Right. But the point I was making is the controversy over the standing orders, 106 as the Speaker is referring to. The concluding part of that requirement is that the decision must be made by the House for either a referral to an ad hoc committee. The Speaker says he's the leader of the House. The House can only be constituted once he presides or once the Speaker is presiding. And then we have the minority side saying that decision of referral ought to be subjected to the plenary. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the Speaker's ruling on that particular issue was very sound. The House by itself cannot, refer a matter to, a committee. I've never seen or heard any such thing happen in any parliament in the world, and I'm a bit surprised or taken aback, that this argument be made that, it should have been left to the House to decide on whether or not the issue be, referred to a committee. What I think the minority ought to be doing is to focus now on the task ahead, which is having made some allegations of wrongdoing, to be able to provide evidence to substantiate, all of the allegations that have been made. These are very, issues. Has misconducted himself in the way he has managed in the affairs and the finance. I mean, the thing he did, everybody who was a public servant and bring his own, crew, from data bank.
Right.
So there's a lot that has gone on at the Ministry of Finance, and it's important that Parliament seizes opportunities like this, to put ministers in their place, so that in the future, no minister will think that they are authorities unto themselves and could do whatever they like. So we've got a fine opportunity. My hope is that the majority group in Parliament would rise to the occasion, would seize the moment, and be on the right side of history.
All right. Then.
And not boycott proceedings as have been directed by their party, but to look at what is in the best interest of the public and and follow their conscience.
All right. And definitely, the conversation is just beginning, so I'm sure that we'll reconnect some other time. Ras Mubarak from MP for Kumbung also sharing his thoughts with us on what's just happened in Parliament. We're grateful for your time. Let's cross over. It appears that more reaction is greeting this. The majority side there addressing and stating their side of the argument. Alexander Penyo Marking, Deputy Majority Leader, addressing the press. You're on the JoyNews channel. Please stay.
And who say any day is that we should follow due process. I'm quite sure that you are all aware that some members of the minority are facing criminal trial. I believe that it is their legitimate expectation. They are given fair trial and they are heard instead of simply appearing before a court and the judge acting ultra vires of the Constitution. So we approached our issue on grounds of procedure, fair trial. And we are happy that after the beautiful discourse, the nature of which established democracies have practiced over the years, a committee has been constituted to enact the rule of procedure and determine issues of evidence which would form a prima facie ground for a report for the plenary. And for the purpose of further elucidation, you know that in the United States Constitution, there is a provision on bills of impeachment. A bill of impeachment basically similar to our censure or removal of somebody in public office. They have an enactment, a procedure for carrying out that exercise. Like Mr. Speaker said, this is a novelty. Although in the Constitution, Article 82, the provision is there. But we've really not touched it before, since 1992. In fact, the first attempt was by Honorable Kofi Konedu Apreku of Offensu North in 1999. But the form of his motion was for the then Minister, Kwame Pepra, to resign because of stated reasons. This one specifically refers to the 82. And if you go to the Hansard, the then majority, including Honorable Avoka, who is still in the chamber, argued that that step they were taking was unknown to the standing orders and the Constitution. And that if they really wanted to come under censure, they should now go properly in substance and in form. So I think posterity is playing back issues of due process to all of us. And there's no bad feeling. Honorable K.T. Amon was nominated by our side to lead the committee. So he is a co-chair of the committee. Honorable Patrick Boama, also a lawyer, a respected lawyer, is a member. From our side, we have Kwame Enyimedu Entry, a member from our side. And finally, our respected colleague, Ejapa Mesa, who is also the Deputy Minister of Energy, as a member. We have every confidence in Honorable K.T. Amon to lead our side. He is a QC. He's practiced law in the United Kingdom for over 20 years. Being called to the English bar and also a member of the Ghana bar.
I abide by the rules of English
yes.
bar.
So yes.
I wasn't made a QC before I returned to Ghana, so don't argue to me. Because I would be referred to, and I was at your grace to be checked.
No, he's a senior member of the bar.
I may have become, if I hadn't left, senior member.
Very well. A senior member of the House, a senior member of the bar, is leading our side. And we have every confidence in him. Gentlemen and ladies of the press, you see, in Akan, yes, you are Fonsa Shawonsa. Etia obi intenya wo na etua onyonkwa na etua. Nti ye dia ne se. Dia ye nuanom ekeka no. Ye nka se ye ne omo nya adwen. But dia ye ka ne se wo bo obi kwaedu, wo ka se obi edibone, ana obi aya nuoma bi a esai oman na. Mano kwan na ono so enkasa. Echire bi na edu wo nso wo so. Echire bi na wo so obi edi bibi eto wo so. Intino yasemwa no. We mean no harm. We are willing to cooperate with them, and I believe that the respondent himself, when afforded the opportunity, he would have the chance to either represent himself in person or by counsel. So I would at this point cede to Honorable Katie Amon. He may have a few words for you to assure you of our commitment.
No, leader, no. Co-chairman, you don't want to hear my views now, do you? You want to hear my views now? Good afternoon, guys.
Okay, thank you, sir.